feel very fancy, I feel like I'm a news anchor. This is part 2 of a 5-part series all about traveling here in South Korea. Hopefully you came from my part 1 where I speak about T-money cards, the importance of them, and how you can pay to get on transportation. But now we're going to focus on buses. If you do find this video helpful at all, please give it a thumbs up because that would mean a lot to me. And make sure you hit subscribe because I'm going to continue to upload videos about living life here in South Korea, how to get here, how to get home, how to get around. So let's get right into it, shall we? There are actually 2 different kinds of buses. There's the long distance bus and then there's the short distance bus. Long distance bus is going to be if you want to travel from one city to another city, and the short distance buses are going to be traveling within the city. First, we're going to focus on long distance buses. Now there are 4 categories, rankings. We'll say levels, kind of like first class, business class, and airplanes. There are 4 different levels of buses. The first level of bus is going to be general. Now this is going to be the cheapest of all of the bus options, but the times in which the buses leave are kind of odd, like really early in the morning or kind of at a weird time at night. It might be cheap, but they're just not going to be quite as nice of quality. It's just going to be basic, generic, standard. Next, we have 2 levels that are pretty similar, honors and premium. They are both real nice, but the price difference is only around 3,000 won more. If I'm being honest, I would just go all in and go premium because I will explain later, but your girl was laying down. She was sleeping horizontal in a bus. It was amazing. The last category is the late night bus. So this is going to be kind of like an overnight bus. It leaves around 11 p.m. midnight, and it is going to be the most expensive out of the 4 categories. There's an app you can use to check the times in which buses leave, and you can even buy your ticket in advance, but I would not actually do that. I wouldn't buy your ticket in advance.
All right, hold up. So I was looking over the prices and I realized that I was showing you the weekday prices. And on weekends and holidays, which on the calendar, if you look at the app, they're red or blue days, you'll find that the prices are actually a little bit more expensive. So on these days, I'd probably just go honors because it's cheaper and it's still really nice.
For the sake of this video, I will reference how I was looking up buses from Seoul to Busan, but there are so many buses that leave to literally every city in South Korea all the time. When you arrive in the bus terminal, there are all these white kiosks. And when I say buses are leaving all the stinking time, they leave in all the time. In one day, there were 32 buses that left from Seoul to Busan. The increments in which they leave usually space out between 20 to 30 minutes. The largest gap I saw was an hour and a half, and that was around lunchtime. And I was looking at just other cities to check. Same with these other cities. You will not have a trouble. Not have a trouble? What is English? Once you arrive in the bus terminal, you go up to one of these white kiosks and it literally will take you 2 minutes to buy your ticket. So many different languages on these kiosks. They're super easy to use. You can pick your seat, buy the ticket, all right then and there, easy peasy. You can buy your ticket in advance on the app, but truly, I would not do this. And the reason why is because you just don't know what time you're going to arrive. You could aim, I want to get there for the 9:30 bus, but y'all, traffic. In the 3rd part of this series, I will discuss taxis, but for now, if you travel during 8 to 9 a.m., the traffic is gonna be bad, okay? 9 to 10 a.m., kind of bad, still bad, not horrible. But if you travel from 5 to 7, just don't, because you could probably roll there faster on your own than deal with Seoul traffic. Just don't do it. But for now, let's focus on the bus, okay? When buses leave every 20 to 30 minutes, you might as well not be stressed out the whole morning. Just show up and buy the next ticket to leave for your city. And even if you did have to wait like maybe a whole hour, there's all kinds of restaurants. There's like a Daiso, there's stores that you can go to. There's even a nice place to sit down and relax. So there's plenty of options of places to go. Probably a strange tip, but let me tell you, it's useful. Think about the direction in which you're traveling and what time it is. If you're traveling from Seoul to Busan, you're headed south. If you're going to take a bus at like 9 in the morning, think about which direction the sun is rising, and you want to sit on the opposite side of that bus so that the sun really isn't just like beaming into your face. Once you've purchased your ticket, there's going to be a number about the gate in which the bus will arrive. Our gate was 1 Aegyo squiggly line, I don't know what that's called, 1 squiggle hyphen 2. We didn't know if it was 1, 2, or 12, so we're just like, let's pick 12. We were wrong. There's a gate, separate gate for 1-2. The way that you can know for sure that you're not making a mistake, once you walk down like the long hallway where the different gates for the buses are, look for your gate and there will be a TV screen outside of the doors. Once your bus is arrived, it'll show up on that TV screen that your bus is here and you're able to walk through the doors, load your luggage on, and get onto the bus. As you walk onto the bus, you're actually going to scan the ticket that you bought. If you do premium though, they scan your ticket for you. So that's not the reason you should buy premium, but let me tell you about the reasons why you should buy the premium bus. If you can buy the general bus ticket, it is obviously significantly cheaper. But if you are between honors and premium, do yourself a favor and spend the $3 and hit up that premium, okay? Here is why. Your seat has like the feet thing that come up, but your back can literally lay down. You are in this cubicle. It's like first class. You literally are laying horizontal in the bus. Like usually I just illegally laid in the back seat of my parents' car. Now I'm like legally able to lay down. It is wonderful. There are 2 charging units in your seat. Conveniently, they are USB. There are screens on both the window and in between everyone. Something so crucially important though for me is usually on trips, I want to be able to sleep. And I took the KTX, and the reason I didn't like it is because there's constantly stopping and starting, stopping and starting. People are getting on, announcements are purposefully made to wake you up.
We will soon be arriving at Daejeon Station.
Whereas in the bus, there's one stop, which is wonderful. You get a bathroom break halfway, but that's it. It's quiet. Like people are very respectful. They don't talk. But speaking of stopping, you actually do take a rest stop. It's enough time to get out, go to the bathroom, and there's all these concession stands. So you can buy food or drink. You cannot bring any food or drink onto the bus. If you do buy something, you have to drink and consume it all at the rest stop. But it's enough time to get a snack, get some coffee if you want to. And it just breaks up the bus ride. You can get out and walk. You're not gonna pee your pants because you have to hold it for like 5 hours. Obviously the bus isn't perfect. There's gonna be some cons. One of those cons is you have to deal with traffic because you're on roads. Usually you are on highways though, so it's not quite as bad as being like throughout the city of Seoul. Just be prepared to wear layers in which you can take on and off, because I felt like I was freaking hot at the beginning and then later on I was freezing. So I would always bring some kind of jacket or something, because both times I went on the bus I felt like I got kind of cold. There is no bathroom on the bus, so you have to wait to go to the rest stop, versus like the train does have a bathroom on it, so you could go whenever you wanted to. But I really did not like the train. We can talk about that in the train video. It is going to take you a little bit longer to arrive at your destination. And if you're lucky like me, usually the like grandma and grandpas, ajumas are like going up in there and bringing their like ajuma scent. You know what I'm saying? Like the old people, they just got the way that they smell. And the last time I took the bus, it was like infused into my brain. So those are, you know, some cons, especially during these Rona times. I really do think that the bus is a quite safe option because you only have maybe 10 to 20 people on the bus in total, and there's no constant like people getting off, people getting on. You just have those 10 people, 20 people, you stuck with them, and then that's it. I personally found it a safe, very comfortable option. Definitely it's the way that I prefer to travel with a lot of luggage. All right, we have talked more than enough about long distance buses, so let's move on to the short distance buses. This is if you want to travel within the city that you are already in. Please download Naver Maps or Kakao Maps. I highly recommend, if you speak English, to download Naver Maps. For me, I have found this to be the most user-friendly. I've had an easier time with Naver Maps and the way that it's laid out. You will need the address in Hangul. You will need it in Korean, not like the romanization of the address. If you are trying to get somewhere with public transportation, you put in your location, you put in the address, and there is a specific category at the top that is labeled basically public transportation. For now, I'm going to focus on buses, so I'm going to click bus, but automatically it's going to show you the easiest route and the best route for the fastest amount of time, and then the easiest route, so you're taking like the least amount of transfers. Once you figure out what the bus stop is, make sure you're on the right side of the road, not just right, the correct side of the road. The way that you can figure this out for people who maybe aren't quite as directionally gifted, go ahead and zoom in on the map to where the bus stop is and look for landmarks around that area. So if you find like a Starbucks coffee shop and you see it's across the street from the bus stop, then you know yourself, I need to be across the street. because sometimes people just go to the nearest bus station that they see and then they end up getting on the bus in the wrong direction. Another extremely helpful tip for anyone using a map at any point is that there is a little tiny blue arrow, at least on an iPhone, there's a little tiny blue arrow when you open Neighbor Maps. And if you physically put your phone like this and turn, it points in the direction. It's great. So just make sure that whenever you're moving your phone directionally, that the side of the street that you're on, the buses are moving in the same direction in which the arrow will point. The bus stops here in South Korea, they are so well made. Many of the bus stops that I've seen have electronic signs that literally show when the next bus is coming, how many minutes away it is. If the sign itself doesn't say, you can always check on the map. There are always timetables on Neighbor Maps that show when the bus is going to arrive, how many minutes away it is. Once you've watched my T-Money card video and you have purchased your T-Money card, it is in hand. When you walk onto the bus, there'll be a little machine in which you swipe your card, it'll beep.
마스크를 착용하세요.
It'll tell you how much money you have on your card, and then you'll scan to get off the bus as well.
하차입니다.
Pro tip, once you scan to get on the bus, sit down as fast as physically possible. Run. Don't walk, run to your seat, because if you are the last person to get on this bus, as soon as you beep your card, she off. The subway, you'll get really close to people because it can get really crowded. In the bus, you'll get to know people, all right? Because you'll end up falling on them if you're not holding on. So just hold on, have hand sanitizer at the ready. The bus screen at the front will say what the next stop is. If the next stop is yours, there are red buttons throughout the whole bus that say stop. So if your stop is the next one, you're going to want to click that button so the bus driver knows to stop and open up the back doors. He will stop at every stop and open up the front doors, but he might not necessarily open up the back doors if you haven't clicked that button. Another pro tip, if your bus is super packed, you're going to, sadly, want to start to maneuver your way up to the back doors before the stop. If one person exits the bus and you are still trying to maneuver your way to the back door, maybe based on personal experience, the bus driver will take off and you end up walking a few extra blocks than you planned on. Even though it's really hard and the bus is not the easiest to maneuver through, try to make your way up to the back door because you're going to want to beep and get off very quickly. If you want to feel super cool, as long as the bus is still en route to your stop and your stop is next, you can scan your card early and look like you've lived in South Korea your whole life. Some downsides to the bus is that you have to deal with traffic. So if you are traveling during the traffic hours I mentioned earlier, good luck. Bus drivers obviously are really good at maneuvering the bus as well, but they don't care about the whiplash that happens in the back, so you will get thrown. It's a hard ride, okay? You technically can do cash. Just don't be that person because the T-Money card is so much easier to get. And if you haven't seen the T-Money card video that I made all about how to get it and what it is, you can go check that out and then be prepared for part 3 of this where I talk about taxis. Once again, if you did find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this here in the near future. I'll see you in the next one, but until then,